Hey everybody, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I hate doing videos this late in the day, but fortunately I'm working nights, and when you work nights you gotta sleep in, and I hate working nights. So it feels like half my day's wasted because I gotta go back to work tomorrow at 6 a.m. So basically it's gonna be a short day today, but what we're gonna do today is we're going to troubleshoot and hopefully fix a coolant leak. If you watched my other videos where we did the control arms on my BMW 325xi, we had discovered that there was antifreeze leaking. So I have a general idea where the leak is coming from. So we're going to put the car up on jack stands, pop the hood obviously, and we're going to get underneath and investigate and possibly see where this leak is coming from. I'm thinking it's coming from the thermostat housing when we change the thermostat, but I'm not 100% sure right now, but we're going to check that out. But let's get going. It's starting to get windy out, so my appliance is starting to blow in the wind. So here the car's up and stand. So basically, when you're checking for a coolant leak, you're obviously going to investigate for many reasons. A, you either see coolant wherever you park. B, you're missing coolant and you don't know where it's coming from. Head gaskets is a big one. If you're losing coolant and you don't know where it's going, your engine could be burning it up. Usually a sign of that is you got like a big white cloud behind you and you're fogging everybody out and everybody's getting pissed off at you. The other one, the most obvious one, is that wherever you park or something, you're going to leave a pool of coolant underneath, which in that case you're going to investigate. And most times when you look at those ones, you're going to find either a hose is leaking, your water pump is gone, and it's coming out of the weep hole. In my case, I'm pretty sure it's the thermostat housing. Like I said before, we're going to go underneath and check it out. I just changed out the lens of my camera, put a wide angle lens on just so you can get a lot more view to it. But I'm going to grab the camera here and let's have a look. The engine on the BMW 325xi, it's an M54 engine. Nothing really all that exciting, but we're going to look around. Here's a coolant tank. Leaving some of the pressure. I just drove it, so I'm not too worried about pressure. So, I mean, I'm up at an angle, so the coolant says it's low, but the only way we're going to investigate it is go underneath and check it like I was looking for when we were changing the control arms. There's my old control arms, going to go to the scrap metal, recycle them. So if you want to know how to change your control arms, you can go watch some of my other videos, but let's crawl underneath. So I just want to show you with the light, you can see the coolant down there, and if I shine it up, you're probably not going to be able to see that well through the camera as I'm seeing it. I can definitely see that the coolant leak is coming from the thermostat housing, just like I had suspected. So what we're going to do on the BMW 325, here's your coolant drain plug right here. So we are going to drain that coolant out, not all of it, but most of it, so we can get in there, and then we got to remove the fan and the housing and pull that out and remove the thermostat cover off and have a peek-see and see what's going on. So in the BMW 325xi, in order to drain your radiator, there's this blue little screw right there, and you just unturn it. I just use this kind of like upholstery tool and stick it in there and turn it, but it's not going to come out that much because you got to go up top and open up the bleed screw, and she really rips. There you go, you just take the screw right out, give her. I just drain it into a bucket. Be safe. You don't want to leave the antifreeze kicking around for animals and whatever else because you might get in trouble. Successfully draining the rad, we're going to go ahead now and start removing all the plastics and everything else from the engine to remove the fan and the fan housing, just to gain access to the thermostat housing, which will be pretty simple to remove. But instead of filming from a million miles away, because people have complained and bitched because fucking they can't see what's going on, so I'm going to move the camera closer just so that you can see. But in my thoughts, if you can't even remove the simple plastic from the vehicle, you probably shouldn't be trying to do maintenance on it. So I'm just going to move the camera a little closer so those crybabies can fucking come up here and just check it out. I'm hoping that's close enough for some of you guys now. So the first thing you want to do when you want to get access to the fan to remove it, you got to remove the intake housing here. So you're going to need some sort of upholstery tool. That one's too big for that one there, so I'm going to use this little dinky thing. And it's not working that much worth shit either. one plastic tab. Some of them haven't fared out so well, so then you gotta use like a screwdriver or something. Pair of pliers now because they're fucked. That's the problem with these tabs. They're cheap, they're efficient, but they're fucking junk. A pair of pliers works way better. So once you got those screws, this piece here is just gonna come right off, but you might as well just take this big black one off as well. You want to set that aside. And your fan housing here, get another one of those gay plastic tabs. And then on this side we got a Phillips screwdriver, or Phillips head. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a Torx. Goddamn Germans can't keep it simple. It's like 10 miles long. You want to remove your electrical connections. So now the fan shroud is loose. Can't take it out yet. You need a special fan removing tool like this one. And this is the not so fun part. So you gotta get that and your wrench. Add your tool here so I can work on the fan Jeep. But in case you don't know, the fan blade itself is right-hand thread. So it means to loosen it, you gotta turn it to the right, which you would normally do to tighten it. So righty loosey, lefty tighty, instead of righty tighty, lefty loosey. So the opposite, in case some of you guys don't know. We're gonna spin this fan off. Got it. Once you spin the fan off, this all comes off in one piece. So now that part's done, we're gonna remove the electrical clip. That's off the thermostat housing, right? And then on the side of your rad hoses, there's like a little wire clip. You stick something flat in there, like a screwdriver, and you just kind of pull it forward, and you can pull the rad hose off. So I got some sort of wire that's attached to it, and I'm just gonna snip that plastic tab. There we go. Kind of getting in the way. Properly dispose of that later. One rad hose is out of the way. Try to stay out of the view so you can somewhat see the bottom one. Same thing. Stick a flat screwdriver in there. Pull a clip out, not fully out, but kind of sits in a spot. Wiggle the bottom hose out. Now we're gonna pull the thermostat housing out. It looks like it's held in by 8 or 10 mil. I should remember this. Looks like there's 3 underneath and like a 12 on top. See if number 12 is the one. Oh, it's not, it's probably 13. Did I guess it right on the 8 mil? No. Fuck. Looks like a 10 and a 13. Well, it looks like a number 10 right there. Put my bolts aside somewhere. Now once you remove the 13, the thermostat housing is just going to drop out. Careful. We're just going to have a look at it. I'm here to show you the thermostat housing where it bolted up and the leak was coming from somewhere down here to seep through. But if you look at the gasket housing here, you can tell that the gasket was slightly pinched there. And this is not a factory BMW thermostat housing. This is an aftermarket housing, so it's not going to be 100% perfect. So at this point you could either replace it at the OEM plastic one, but in my case what we're going to do to seal it up is I'm going to remove a little bit of that gasket there, and we're going to use gasket maker all the way around the seam and then put it back in, and hopefully that should seal it up. Lightly silicone around the base where the gasket itself sits. So we are here. We went all the way around. So basically by doing this we're going to create basically another gasket on top of a gasket, and that's going to, hopefully you can see it, I can't tell, let me have a look. Yeah, so hopefully this is going to seal up the problem with the gasket not seating. So now we're going to very carefully put this thing back in. There really is no sequence in tightening up the bolts. I always try to go in an X pattern. The one directly above it. So once you got that back on, you can go ahead, put your rad hoses back on. Same thing, the rad hoses only fit so far as the plastic or that steel clip, and if you don't have it on right, like I did right there, it's just gonna pop off. So I got to yank that mofo out. You try again. You know your rad hoses are on, you can't pull them off. That part's all done. I can see my ATV gasket maker squished out from the sides, which is a good sign. Looks like I got a valve cover leak happening here. Gonna have to do a video on that once the change spark plugs. We have determined at this point that the faulty culprit was because of the thermostat housing. The gasket didn't seal properly due to either gasket not sealing properly or the aftermarket manufacturer not having a perfect surface on it, making it not seal properly. Anyways, we're hoping with the gasket maker it's going to seal up. We're not going to put antifreeze in it right at this moment. We're going to put it all back together and let it sit for a bit, just so that the gasket maker can set up. Then once it's set up, we're going to fill it full of coolant and run it and see what happens. So right now, at this point of the game, camera's kind of far away, it doesn't really matter. Well, you got the fan and that out. It's a good time to inspect the belts. You got your power steering belt, your alternator and all that in one, and then your air conditioning belt is separate. It's a good time to examine those belts. If there's any cracks or issues, it'd be a good time to change it while you have the fan and all that out now. But anyways, if that's all tests out good, you want to curse and swear now and put this goddamn fan back in, because it's a bitch. Alright, I think we let it sit long enough. Right now we're going to start filling it back up. Start pouring some antifreeze into the sucker. So right now I'm going to start it up. Put the heat on. Just let her idle. And of course, once you start it up, the antifreeze goes right down. So keep adding her. So right now I got coolant coming out of my bleed valve, so seal that up. Some more coolant in her. Shit's gotta run for a bit, so I'm just gonna turn the camera off. I'm pretty sure you don't want to watch the car idle for like 10 minutes, because that's just gonna get frickin' boring. So now we heated up the car to reach up the proper temperature, which should be halfway on your temperature gauge. By doing this, it will allow the thermostat to open, and any kind of burps and shit like that in your cooling system should have burped by now. Using your bleeder screws, get all the air out of the system, because the BMW itself doesn't hold much for coolant, so you want to have as much coolant as you can in there to prevent overheating, which could blow a head gasket, which could be quite expensive. Now, enough of the bullshit. Now we've got it heated up, we're going to crawl underneath. We're going to dry it off, because when we removed all that shit, obviously we're going to make a mess from the coolant. You could have did it before, or you could do it after. I don't really care, but we're going to do it now. And then just kind of look up above with a flashlight, because the engine's hot enough now that anything that could have been wet from before should have evaporated, and any new leaks should start showing. So that being said, let's go do it. Not sure if you're going to be able to see up there, but that's where the culprit of the leak was from the thermostat housing. So far, it looks like it's sealed up. I'm going to start putting the plates back on, the skid pans underneath the car, and then come back after I get that middle one on and see if it's leaking or not. Well, I'm going to say that's the end of the frickin' video. It's been half hour. No more coolant leaks from where it was leaking from before. I'm going to call it good for right now. We're going to monitor it over the next few days, see what's going to happen. It's a nice day out. It's Friday afternoon. It's getting close to 4 o'clock. I'm going to ride my fucking Indian motorcycle before rush hour traffic gets too busy, and enjoy the rest of my day, because I'm going back to work tomorrow. Still doing part of the shutdown. 1 more week to go. It's almost 3 weeks of working straight. And then I'm going to bring the boat home, finish that off. Got lots of shit on the go. Lots more videos coming up of random stuff. So I hope this video on troubleshooting a coolant leak helped you out. If you have any questions or concerns, post them below. Otherwise, follow me on Twitter, Bullshit Corner. See you later.